What's up, y'all? Tonight, we've got one of the most competitive, creative, and flat out fun dudes in the game, Mr. Rusty Noel. You may know him from winning championships on the football field, and you might know him from racking up titles in these cooking competitions all around the country. Or maybe you've even seen his spices and his sauces on the shelves at grocery stores and local stores. Rusty's story starts in a really rough place, but it's built grit, it's built hustle, it's built his heart for helping others. And we're going to talk about all of that and how he went from coaching kids to creating products people can't get enough of, dominating the food circuit, and still somehow or another finding time to lift up the people around him. Don't forget, hit that like button, subscribe. Let's get into it. Rusty, it is good to see you, my brother. Thanks for joining us.
Man, I'm a huge fan and watch the show each and every week, and I follow most of all your guests that you have. So it's definitely a pleasure for me to be on your show.
Yes, man. Yes, really pumped to have you. We've been talking about doing this for a while, and it's just been you're on the run.
Pretty much.
I don't know how you if I don't think slowdowns in your vocabulary. You're coming to us
No,
tonight from a hotel somewhere doing God knows what. What's happening tonight? What are you up to?
my full-time job. I work in the oil and gas industry for an amazing company, amazing family, Eaton Oil Tools. And my area is Covington, Louisiana. So I leave Lafayette on Monday, and I work the week in Covington, New Orleans. I cross the causeway to New Orleans, make sales calls, and work here during the week. And then go back home on Friday, start getting ready for competitions on Saturday and Sunday. Saturday, I compete. Sunday, we clean up, put everything up, get ready to start the week all over again. Pretty much
Rewind,
the story of
press
my
play.
life.
the
That's it,
life of the life of a salesman, brother. I
right?
understand. I understand totally. Well, before you got to this point and doing these competitions and working in the oil and gas industry, let's back up for a second. You and I mentioned this just before, kind of before we started to record. Your grit really came from surviving your childhood and all of that. So let's rewind it a little bit. When you think back to your childhood, what are the moments that shaped you the most to be where you're at today?
I think some of the hardest is, we run and run and run to try to make memories, good memories. Uh, and I hear people say stuff like, hey, man, when we were a kid, we did this, or we were a kid, I can remember my mom and dad doing this. Something simple as a family meal. I didn't have it. Mom and dad were both alcoholics. The abuse in our house was horrible with each other. Uh, you know, it wasn't just one way. Mom would beat on dad, dad would beat on mom. They would get drunk and leave me with an older brother who absolutely, for some reason, hated me. He was 9 years older than me. And then, as a kid, you know, he's 9 years older than me. He would just bully, horrorize, and just beat me. Um,
Mm.
I took that on from my brother for years. Uh, as we got older, um, I just hid it. Didn't tell nobody, didn't say nothing. When I was younger, I didn't do it because I was scared of him. If you told, you would just get another beating. And I just held that in for years until the passing of my mother, actually. I made a promise to her that I would not do him anything or not harm him or leave him alone until after she died. Um, Crazy part is, God has his way of putting his hands in things. We live about, I don't know, probably 5 miles from each other. My mom's been deceased for years now, and I have not seen him once since my mom passed away. I've
Wow.
seen his wife. I've seen his kids. I have not seen him once. So somebody got a hand in us not crossing paths, and it's a good thing.
Yeah.
Um,
Sounds
it
like
just
it.
it builds you, and that's why I'm really an advocate against bullying or even cyberbullying or just people being ugly and being mean.
Yeah.
There's just no need for it. It shaped me. Then fast forward, getting in once I was in high school. My mom and dad got divorced. It just seemed like I was at a place where um, neither one wanted to deal with me. I was the baby of 7 years behind my sister. They both wanted to get on with their lives and do their things. And, I found myself just bouncing around and kind of raising myself, through high school,
Yeah.
which was difficult because, you just, I think about my own children. I think about my grandchildren, but I think of my kids, you know, little things like healthcare. I have a good friend that's a dentist, and we were all at a party one night, and I told him we were talking about wisdom teeth. My daughter needed her. He was like, "Yeah, Hannah, she's at that age. She needs her wisdom teeth pulled out." And I'm like, "Well, maybe I can just do it myself and save the money." I said it as a joke,
Right.
and he said, uh, "Boy, you crazy." I said, "Well, I pulled mine out, and technically," he said, "The hell you mean?" I said, "Well, I technically didn't pull my wisdom teeth out, but they were hurting. Everything was hurting so bad. I was 16 when it happened. I used vice grips and pulled my back two molars out uh,
What?
to
Holy
make room
cow.
for my wisdom teeth to come out." And he said, "There's no way." I said, "I did." I said, "I did it in a Toyota Starlet with some black velvet whiskey and vice grips." And
Jeez.
when I showed him, he says, "Well, your wisdom teeth are still there." I said, "Yeah, since I was 16, I've used my wisdom teeth as my back molars. They're at an angle because that's how your wisdom teeth are in. They're not
Right,
straight out
right.
like a regular tooth." But I pulled my two molars out, which wasn't loose, because I didn't know what was going on. I didn't have health care. I didn't have nowhere to go, no money, um, just to make room for my two back molars to come out.
That's
So,
insane.
yeah, things like that, man. You want to talk about build character quick.
I, I guess it built a pain tolerance, if nothing else.
it'll,
But
uh,
good lord, bro!
it'll humble you, man.
I
Just
guess.
as a kid, you just, you have to, I had to grow up faster than most, obviously. I can remember just flat out fighting for money to be able to purchase gas, food, whatever we needed. Um, you know, I got to be pretty good at it, which, ultimately, I think you and I had talked about later on in life, 2019 to be exact, saved my life in New Orleans. Um, that was probably, believe it or not, as dark as my childhood and teenage and as rough as all that was. Um, I hear people talk about 2020 and the COVID year being, the worst year of their life. And I was thinking to myself, man, nothing was like 2019 for me.
Hmm.
That was absolutely probably the worst experience I've ever been through in my life.
That's yeah. I mean, and it kept building you. I don't know. You got to think maybe back if you didn't have those experiences as a child, you may not have been prepared to be able to handle that and to get on the other side of it. That
Right.
that character that it built you. Yeah, and what I find so amazing, Rusty, is that anybody who meets you, wouldn't know this story until they talk to you, get to know you a little bit, because your outward character is just, you're just a nice guy, loud and fun, which is what I, I am
People
too.
tell
And
me all the time, I did some comedy stuff with Stale Cracker. We do like the cooking demos, me and Cajun and Stale Cracker and Wade Fishes. And people will come tell me, said, "Man, you are just funny. And the more you drink, the funnier you get. And you're just a funny guy." the crazy part that people don't know, whenever people ask me, what do people don't know about you? And I tell them, I'm actually shy. And they just look at me like I'm lost my mind. I'm in outside sales. I sell seasoning. I have to go in these stores and get my seasoning in. Uh, and like you said, people meet me. They have no, there's no way I can convince somebody that I'm actually shy. But I am horrifically shy. I guess part of that was being bullied as a kid, being teased a lot. You know, I didn't have no money, so the clothes I wore were, you know, bad. I would borrow clothes from friends a lot of times just so I could kind of fit in when they would come to dances and things like that. But
Hmm.
just the picking and the, you know, people say it all the time, and it's true. Kids are cruel. Kids are the
Kids are,
cruelest,
yeah,
man.
they
And
are.
and
They are.
growing up that way, I would tell jokes about me being fat or me maybe not smelling quite right because I didn't have cologne or deodorant or the newest clothes. Uh, I would tell jokes on myself and have people laughing at my jokes because I figured that would be, they were going to laugh at me anyway, and they were going to laugh, you know, at me. So I figured if they laughed because I was making them laugh, it was a way to hide.
But it was
Um,
at least you were doing it on your own terms, doing self-deprecating humor. I
and it
totally
was
get
hard
that.
for,
You could control a little bit about, you know, what they would do. I totally can relate to that because of being, it was not in a sense of a terrible bully, but I think at some point everybody's bullied a little bit in high
right,
school, and there were a couple of them, and I remember it's insane, but my coping mechanism was to just be out crazy these bullies. Like, that dude's crazy, I don't want to mess with him. Like, and I
I
am not
do,
advocating this, but like, guy, you know, you get your locker in high school, your lock for your
right,
locker. I'd take that thing and I'd just bam, bam, and hit my arm, and they're like, I don't want anything to do with this idiot, you know.
right.
So I totally get where you're coming from with that.
And still to this day, you know, I I include people that I know who are not sensitive in jokes, but you know, still to this day, I pick on myself more than anybody else because I just, I mean, I can't get mad at myself. I can't hurt my feelings, and if I can make somebody laugh, let's all laugh. Uh, but it's funny because I just like to make people laugh. That come my grandmother used to tell me, if you make people leave you, she'd tell me the whole success of life is to make anybody you come in contact leave you full and happy. That's it,
Mm,
full and happy. And I used to think, well, I used to think that made no sense whatsoever, right? And the
right,
older I
right,
get, I'm like, man, if everybody lived by that, what a cool place this would be.
right.
Um, that's part of the whole cook-off world. You know, if you leave there not full and not happy, you have a problem.
That's
Uh,
a fact.
you
Yeah,
know that.
yes,
But
yeah.
I try to, if I come in contact with somebody, I want them to like me. Um, I don't. I hear people say all the time, I don't care what they think. Well, I do. Um,
Yeah.
I got some of my harshest critics that, you know, I should not care about. And I try to extend myself out the way to make them like me. Like I want it to be known that you have no reason whatsoever. I want everybody to be happy around me.
Yeah.
You know, no matter what it is, I want everybody to be happy.
I love that, and I mean, I think that's probably why I hit it off with you immediately. I have a very similar personality. I think I portray myself maybe as a little bit bigger in life than I am. I don't mean like stature wise, just like I'm a little more shy and reserved than people want to think too.
Right,
So I totally get it. Different, much different reasons of it. Just, you know,
right.
but I think that you can commend just about everybody that we are friends with that run in our little circle, if you would call it that. that are on social media, especially. I mean, you gotta have some thick skin to jump in this game, period. Because the it's
Absolutely.
I think it's worse online. People won't say half of the crap that they would say to. They wouldn't say it to your face in
Oh no,
public.
that and that's a fact, you know. And look, uh, I get screenshots from the true ones, the real ones that I get. I like to call them. I get screenshots all the time. Like, man, this person was talking about you the other day. I thought y'all were friends, and then I read the screenshot, and I'm like, well, hell, I thought we were friends too, but I guess not.
Like, oh,
I guess he's got a problem with me for some reason. I don't know. Maybe I only paid for 5 of his hotel rooms and not 6 when we would travel. I don't know who, you know me. Look, I try to help everybody and do everything. Um, you know, can I be an ass? Well, yeah. I've asked Nicole. Ask Nicole. She'll tell you.
I mean, can't we all though at some
Right,
point?
right.
I mean,
Uh,
for
People tell
sure.
me I'm a different person on competition day about that last 15 minutes before judge turn in. They tell me I have a tendency to be a different Rusty those 15 minutes before, you know. Uh, they
I've seen that. I've seen that Rusty transform. You do kind of
uh,
turn into a different character, you know. But I mean, you put all of your heart and your soul into it, and we'll get to the food here in a little bit, and how all competition is. But there's zero doubt about that. Well, with your childhood and kind of the way that you came up, how did that lead you into football and coaching? And give everybody out there the 30,000-foot overview of your. You have an extensive and amazing coaching career in football. So tell everybody about it that
we
doesn't
were
know.
discussing this the other day, and I said it's crazy that I'm pretty big known in 2 separate worlds, and those 2 separate worlds don't know about the other side.
Yeah.
Like, all these people in the cooking world know me from competition cooking, the seasoning, the cookbooks. They know all that, and they don't even know that I've won 27 national championships. I got over 100 kids playing college football from my one little program, and we have 9 drafted into the NFL off my little program. They don't know
Wow.
that part. And then people on the football side can't understand why I'm messing with food at all. Like, what are you even doing? You cook for us when we're in the parking lot at games, but what are you even doing messing around with a seasoning or food? You got no business doing that. You need to be coaching. And it's funny. But backing it up, when I was in middle school, um, I got on the football field for the first time, and it was only because friends. I'd moved to a new school. Our parents had lost a house. You know, we were pretty much bouncing around renting. We stayed with an aunt and uncle, but we found an old beat up trailer in this neighborhood, and we ended up in Moss Bluff, which uh, Moss Bluff is an absolute great place and great people. But if you don't have money and you go live in that place, it's kind of like a Covington, Madisonville.
Okay.
You know, they got money, and
Right.
so I didn't fit in, but I was blessed to have some of the best friends that, man, I was on the phone with one today for almost an hour from that far. I mean, some of the oldest friends I got took care of me when I was there. And on that football field, it seemed like I was just getting the family that I didn't have at home.
Yeah.
You know, coach was the dad, right? So he was the you know, the disciplinary guy and giving you the structure and the rules, and your teammates were the siblings that were just trying to get you ass in trouble, like, you know, everything else. So
Yeah.
and that aggression, I would get so mad at home at just the way everything was. Uh, but I was also smart enough to know I couldn't just take that out at school or whatnot. But man, when I put that football helmet on, I could do all I wanted, and I was just a different kid with the helmet on. I was able to be mean, aggressive. Um, I had size. I worked out a lot. I just everything just come out when that helmet was strapped on. Uh, and I never forget when I got into high school. Um, the Viator brothers, Coach Mike Viator, Coach Matt Viator, and then Coach Brandon. Um, uh, those guys, those coaches, without them knowing, saved my life. Uh,
Hmm.
Coach Brando was a huge part of it. He's passed away, but one of the coolest things is about a year before he passed away, I found him, caught up with him. He was playing the guitar in a bar. Uh,
Oh, nice.
I found him on social media, you know, and I drove an hour and a half, went to his show, and was able to let him know in person what he did and the impact he had on me and what I am was doing, you know, as far as all my youth football stuff because of him.
Yeah.
Uh, Coach Mike and Coach Matt Viator. Coach Mike's not coaching anymore. We stay on Facebook. Matter of fact, he's tagging me because he buys my seasoning everywhere and pushes it. And we talk all the time. Coach Matt Viator was at McNeese, went to ULM, was at UL. The craziest part was my son was coaching at UL at the same time, and they were sharing an office.
Oh, really?
So yeah, I
Wow.
used to tell him, Coach, don't you tell my son. He thinks his daddy's a good guy. Don't you tell my son what kind of kid I was. But he's now the head coach at McNeese. He full circle. He's back at McNeese, uh, and we still talk. But coaches truly molded me and were the family that I didn't have, the good family
Hmm.
I didn't have. Um, so when I was right out of high school, um, I took off to Florida, ended up coming back home to Broussard, wasn't my home, but my mom got sick, moved back to take care of her.
Okay.
Um, Everything happens for a reason. I'm a firm believer in God has a hand in everything, big or small. And moving back to Lafayette, I ended up going to UL where I met Nicole 30 something years ago. I mean, we had three classes together. Uh, we started dating, got married, been together ever since. So
Nice.
there was a reason I was led back here. And I started right out of high school. I started coaching youth football. And I was in Broussard, and their team, the kids I had were just rough. I had one kid that I would have to go get out of juvenile because he was fighting roosters. I mean, this was 11 and 12 year olds fighting
Wow.
roosters, and uh,
Jeez.
you know, I'd have to pay kids like, and they're out there shooting dice, and they're like, Coach, I can make $20 tonight, and I'm like, well, if I give you 20, and I didn't have money. Hell, I was right out of high school. I'm like, if I give
Exactly.
you 20, will you put the dice down and come to practice? Yeah. So I'd give him $20. He would jump in my Jeep. Man, I was having to buy and sell and trade. I remember selling our TV. We didn't have much of a TV, but his TV with a box on the back, but the pawn shop took it so I could go buy cleats for a kid to be able to play on game day.
Jeez.
Uh, you know,
Man.
we made sure the kids around us had it, even if we didn't. Um, and still to this day, one of the reasons we're successful at giving so much to so many is I'm gonna throw that right back at Nicole. I had a wife that was just all in. Whatever my shenanigans was, or whatever we had to give up for that, um, she was all in. Like, well, they need it more than us. Let's figure it out and make it do. And that's what we
Yeah.
did. Um, and directly, you start seeing these kids' lives change. They grow, and then you see them with their kids at the park, and you see them working and being a good dad and a good husband, and you're like, if I wouldn't have pulled this kid out from where he was, he wouldn't have had a shot in hell. And look at him. And that was,
Right.
selfish or not, that was my reward. Like, I wasn't getting money, but that feeling I got inside just burned. And like, okay, well, let's find the next kids we can help. Then more kids, then more kids. And look, it's no secret. Soccer kids, select baseball kids, tennis kids, they don't quite need the help. Football kids, uh, lower income, single family homes, uh, no family homes.
Yeah.
Um, at that point in time, those were the kids that needed us bad. And I can remember Nicole and I get married. We have, Todd and Hannah and Hayden. And Todd was 13, 13 playing football. And we had a couple kids on the team that I would always, every year, you got to go pick kids up. You got to drop them off. You drop them off for practice and there's 7 cars in the driveway. Like nobody could take this kid to practice. But we did. We would go get them. We'd pick them up. And then we would travel to play ball on tournaments. And sometimes we'd stay out of town. Sometimes we wouldn't. But we would take care of these kids. And
Yeah.
one weekend in specific, we were in the Baker area, right outside of Baton Rouge, playing in a
Hmm.
tournament, and we had 2 age groups playing, and our team finished that I was coaching, and Nicole's like, "Well, I'm going home." I said, "Well, I'm gonna stay and watch the other age group." Everybody leaves. One of the kids that was always by my hip, uh, we crossing the Basin Bridge going home, and we still got to go back and play Sunday. And he says, "Coach, can I stay at y'all's house?" I said, "Well, yeah, you don't want me to drop you off at your house? Does your mom know?" He's like, "Oh yeah, coach. I let her know, and she knows that I'm staying with a friend." And all right, so he stays at our house, and then Sunday we repeat the process. Well, my son had a bad game, and he knew that if he had a bad game, he better ride home with his mama and not with daddy, because it was always a long ride home if he had a bad game, right?
Yeah.
So it's me and Trey again by herself, and we're get on that Basin Bridge, and he said, "Hey, coach, can I spend the night with y'all again tonight?" I said, "Well, you got school tomorrow." He said, "I know. Could you bring me to school?" He said, and I realized when he was talking, it was kind of cracking up. And I turn and look, and the kid's crying. He's like, "Coach, I got nowhere to go." I said, "What the hell you mean? I pick you up?" He said, "Coach, you pick me up at the convenience store." He said,
Mm.
"Sometimes I sleep in the washateria. Sometimes friends let me sleep on their couch." But he said, "I don't have nowhere to go. My
Jeez.
mom's in jail. I just don't know what to do." And I was like, "Oh, I know what to do." Pull up at the house. He comes in. I tell him, "Go upstairs, take a shower, bring your dirty clothes down." He had a bag full of clothes. I didn't know because it was a big football bag. So it was everything he owned stayed in his football bag.
Mm.
Said, "Bring all your stuff down so I can wash, dry your clothes." And Nicole, first thing she said, she says, "What's he doing here? He's got school tomorrow." I said, "Well, we got to talk." And she's like, "Okay." I said, "I think he's going to be living with us a while." And she says, "What do you mean?" "He goes to school across town." I said, "Well, we'll get to that bridge when we'll cross that bridge when we get there, but we'll bring him to school in the morning. We'll figure this out." And sure enough, man, we ended up, I had to go meet with his mom. Uh, she was reluctant to sign paperwork. I had an attorney friend of mine draw up all of the custody paperwork, everything. She was reluctant to sign it at first. Obviously, you got this white dude, got your kid, and he's got papers and says, "Here, sign it over."
Right.
Uh,
Sure.
there's a lot more to that part of the story uh, that only a select few people know that part of the story. That'll never be told.
Yeah.
But I convinced her to sign that paperwork to me, and she signed it, and we took custody of him. Um, and it's hard. It's the hardest thing. You get your kids in a routine, uh, and then you have a young man just move in that has no structure. He didn't have rules. He didn't have times. He didn't, he could walk out the house and just go run down the street and do whatever at any time. And your kids are like, "Why can't I do this?" And
Hmm.
we didn't allow him to, but sometimes he would just do it. And Trey came a long ways and ended up with great grades. Very successful in life, just a great young man. Um, his mom got out, and till this day, I run into her everywhere, and she calls me her brother and tells me how I saved her kid's life and helped her. They're family, their extended family, and Trey will. If you watch my documentary, that part, and the thing about my documentary is probably the coolest thing for me is I was not allowed to sit on any interview. I was not able to be in the studio. I was not allowed to know who they were interviewing, what was said on camera, or nothing until this thing broke. Um, Needless to say, when I got the first copy to look at it, I was on the interstate driving back from Houston. I made it about 5 minutes into this thing, and I'm on the side of the road just bawling my eyes out.
I guess you would be, especially I've watched it, and if y'all haven't watched it, go look it up. Rusty Noel. It'll pop first thing that will pop up, and it's a documentary that was done 3 or 4 years ago, all about his coaching. And if you want to know the X's and O's and all of the details, go watch this. But yeah, watching it. That would be hard to watch I mean, it would be very gratifying to watch, but there's no way I would need a whole box of Kleenex to get
Well,
through it. I can only imagine.
and that part where they interviewed Trey, and he said, Nicole and Rusty will forever be my mother and father.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
things like that get me, like I think people kind of understand the weight that has, and sometimes I don't know if they do. Nathan and Amanda would travel the boot. Absolutely love them. Haven't known them long, but feel like we're family already. And after the
Great
cook-off last
people.
Saturday, Amanda made a comment on a post. Somebody said, I like Rusty. He's a nice guy. Amanda made this comment about next to my father, he's one of the best men I've ever met in my life. And I read this sitting next to my wife. We're in the hotel room that night, and she didn't know. I mean, I haven't told him it, but I just bawled my eyes out. And people don't understand the weight of some of their comments, and it
Yeah.
just it hits. It hits when you hear people say that stuff that you didn't, you wouldn't expect.
Yeah. You give me a lot of vibes of my own father and that kind heart and that helping heart, that servant leadership. You have that in droves. He has that in droves. So I mean, I agree with Amanda 100%. You are, and I mean, I'm not saying that just because you're on here or anything. It's
I
just
appreciate
extreme.
that.
It's very true. I mean, you're the magnet. Whenever I'm at these events, I ain't leaving or anything until I come and see you. I got to come and hug your neck and just visit with you for a minute because you
That
make
means a
my
lot.
day. You cheer me up, even if I'm not down. But even this past weekend, I've been going through stuff with my dad, and it hasn't been a very easy road. And I
Right.
know I wasn't my dynamic, normal, out there self, but just stopping and visiting with you made my day. It really
I
did.
appreciate that.
It perked me up. Um, but yeah, it's your heart. That's the thing, and all these stories of just things that you've done, that servant leadership. I don't think it ever was about winning championships. That just ended up being the byproduct of all of that, wouldn't you say?
So that's what I tell people, right? On the back of every football uniform, on our championship rings, on their bags, on their compression shirts, everywhere you see, I have a phrase that says it's bigger than football. I won't allow them to put their name on their jersey. Some don't understand it at first, especially when they're new
Mm.
and they come into our program. and they want their name on their jersey. And I'm like, well, it's not an individual sport. And if you're looking for that, you need to go down the road to a different program. We're not the program for you. Um, and they don't ever understand it at first. Doesn't take them long for them to understand what I
They
mean
get
by
it.
that.
Yeah.
And we're 100% family first. I tell all our coaches, because I'm not coaching in my Swamp Cat program. Hannah and Nicole are running it. We were going to get out of it, I don't know, 10 years ago. And every year, that's going to be our last year. National Signing Day comes, and we're going to, we sign 7, 8 plus kids to play college football. And I get called to go to every single signing. They remember old Little League coach and like, Coach, please be at my signing. And I'm like, well, hell yeah. And I run, man. And I'll take the day off of work and I run from one signing to another. If I miss one, it's because I'm at another one and, and I got to flip a coin or it's just too far. And I try to
Right.
make every one. And then Nicole will text me, hey, did you see such and such sign today? I'm like, well, I'm here with him. Um, it proves you left a stain on there. You left a
Yeah.
mark. Uh,
And you feel responsible to show up, and because you know it's going to make them
but
happy.
but I think part for me, the fact that they called to invite me was more that I coached the good person in them more than the athlete that got that scholarship.
Right.
Like you remembered your old coach, and that's a really humble, good thing. I would rather take credit for that part of being invited because they're just a good kid and remembered me.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I was part of molding that good kid than I was being, you know, molding Jack
X's and
Besh,
O's and
who's in the
right.
NFL.
Yeah.
Jack. Uh, Jack's definitely one of the most wildest kids I've ever coached. I
Really.
love him. You being an LSU guy, I mean, I know you know Besh, but
Oh
Jawan
yeah.
Johnson is one. Uh, but Fitzgerald West. But you know, it's that little thing. Um, it's those little comments. But when I go to a college game and they're walking to the stadium, whether it be at Tiger Stadium or Cajun Field or um, TCU, any of these games, and I holler at these kids and they come to me and grab my neck and tell me they love me before anything else. That's
Yeah.
that's everything. That's all
Yeah.
that matters.
Yeah.
Uh, I was so excited several years back. Hunter Register, which hell of an athlete. He was playing at Southern. Uh, his last year, about to get drafted, and we were at a TCU game. I was good friends with the coach at TCU. He was recruiting my son, so we knew each other. And cooking, he always wanted me to come cook. I bought him a cast iron pot. I mean, we did a bunch of stuff. So we were at the TCU game on the TCU side, but the visiting tunnel comes out, and I told my wife, I said, you know, Hunter Registers plays for Southern. I said, let's go walk down to the tunnel, the visitor tunnel, and see if we can see him. And so her and I get through the TCU crowd, and we're kind of hanging over the rail. And Hunter's like 6'6" wide receiver, and Hunter spots us, and he was at the back of the pack. He beelines all the way through, damn near climbs on a teammate to get up the wall to hug and kiss Nicole. She bawled crying the whole first quarter of the game, and I'm like, you see what I mean? You made that impact on this kid
Yeah.
that, and that's the first thing he did was, he gave me a hug, but, he gave her a hug and a kiss and told her, that he loved her.
Right.
And, those are the marks you want to leave on these kids. And football has definitely let me reach out to a lot of people. Now, I'm not quite coaching like I used to be. I coach in All-American games. I get chosen to coach in All-American games around the country: Pennsylvania, Texas, Florida, California. I coach Team USA. We travel to Monterrey, Mexico, and different places. I love that part. It still allows me to coach because although it seems like I'm not worried about winning, and I'm just worried, about building good kids. I'm very competitive, so that kind of gives me
Yeah.
that competitive side. Um, it lets me still coach. But we started a brand and a event called True Talent Sports. It's an all-American game for youth football players. It's modeled directly after like the high school Under Armour game where uh, invites are sent in, highlights, videos are all sent in,
Right.
and we select the best of the best by position, by age, and create these teams from kids from all over the country. And they fly in. We have an Orlando game, we have a Nashville game, we have a Lafayette game, and we just recently for January we're adding a San Antonio football game. And man, we get 500 to 600 kids show up from 50 different states. You get to
Wow.
meet all these families. You track them down. Matter of fact, when we just went, a group of us just went to cook for the flood victims in Texas.
Right.
Uh,
Right.
we had a family that had played in my game from the San Antonio area, seen that on our social media page, so they drove over there to meet us. Um, the great part about this event is we generate money, but we are a 100% 501c3 nonprofit. Every bit of money that we make on the plus side is spent on benefits, whether it be kids, cancer patients, St. Jude. Uh, Probably 80% of that profit or that green money in the green goes directly to storm victims, hurricane
Mm.
relief. Um, when people
I
donate to our nonprofit, that goes straight to
to helping
mainly
those
hurricane relief.
folks.
That's right.
Well, that's I wanted to kind of jump to that. Obviously, all these coaching years, and we're going to get to the competitive cooking part of it. But those of you that are out there that you don't know Rusty, I know a lot of folks watching this, listening to this do, and they know his story. And there's no, I mean, if you can't tell by now how big this man's heart is, and I ain't got nothing else for you, I can't help you. But his heart is so big, and one of the biggest things that he does is that when they have the flooding like they've had in North Carolina, or the flooding that's been in Texas most recently, or any hurricanes, any of these type of major catastrophic events that have been happening all over the country, this man goes, takes his trailer, cooks for the masses, passing out food and all of that. And it's just one of the most selfless things that any human could do. How did you get to that point of where you started doing those things?
We started way back during uh, Katrina. After Katrina, we started feeding people around the New Orleans area, and it just mainly hurricanes.
Mm,
It came from, I guess, a spot that I know what it's like to need help and receive it, and I know how good that feels. And I also know what it's like to need help and not receive it, and I also
right.
know that feeling. Uh, I would rather try to do whatever I could to make the better feeling happen for somebody.
Yeah.
Um, you know, I don't have a ton of money, so I can't just throw a lot of money at an issue, but I have the ability to cook for large amounts. Um, these disasters come in stages, right? We were part of the Cajun Navy back in the day, and we would go do
You
boat
were
rescue. Yeah,
okay.
we go do boat rescues. So at the beginning, it's rescue work. We would go in and just help and help and help. And I got pictures on my phone and screenshots. Me and a buddy got caught up in Hurricane Harvey. We got caught in the eye in a 16-foot aluminum boat.
Oh Lord.
We rode through it. It was hitting us, And we didn't realize, we thought it was just another storm. We didn't realize that Harvey had just kept circling, right? And we got in an RV shed, but the water was so that the RV was out of it. But we pulled up into this RV shed with our boat, and I remember holding on to the pipe rafters at the top. That's how high the water was. It was so high that an
Jeez.
RV can park under it, but the water was so high, we were right there. And I unbuckled my life jacket and I ran that strap around that pipe. And he says, "What are you doing?" I said, "I just want Nicole to be able to find my body if we don't make this out of here." And fortunately, we made it out. Scariest I've ever been. We got out of there. For Harvey, we rescued close to 400 people total, just my little crew with a few boats.
Wow.
Um, it was brutal. People don't understand when you're out there. Like, I get people all the time that'll say, "Oh, I want to come help. I want to come help," and then they jump in the truck and they're like, "Well, what hotel are we staying at, or where are we going to eat?" Well, we don't have anywhere to stay. We don't have nowhere to use the bathroom. You don't have anywhere to take a shower. And I got protein bars and a bottle of water in my bag that I can last a week. And then they're like, "Uh-oh, what are we getting into?"
Yeah.
Um, we stopped to this Hispanic family off the Beltway in Houston. We launched off the Beltway. That's how high the water was for Harvey. We
Wow.
pulled up and backed the boat on an off ramp and used it as a boat ramp off the Beltway, as high as it is, and
Wow.
took off into these neighborhoods. And I'll never forget, there was this Hispanic family. We pulled up. We're getting them in the boat, and they hand me their little girl first. And I grabbed her, got her in the boat, helped the mama in the boat. Then we helped the daddy in the boat. And the little girl spoke something in Spanish, and the mama slapped her and told her to be nice in English. I caught that part, and I couldn't understand. And I kept saying, "What did she say? What did she say?" And she didn't want to tell me. And then finally, the dad said, "Whew, she said you stink." I'm like,
I
"You make
do.
sense." Yeah, she
Yeah.
said you stink. I saved her life, but yeah, she still had to, kids are cruel. Back to that kids thing, right?
That's
Yeah,
right. That's
she
right.
just
And
let
they'll
me
just
have
tell
it.
you
And
they'll tell you the God honest
but
truth.
at that point, man, we were jumping in and out the boat. It was mud, water, sewage.
Mm.
Um, we were a couple days in with no shower. Uh, she was
Yeah.
100% correct.
Yeah.
We wouldn't even go sleep inside the truck because we were scared our smell would just stay inside the truck. We would just kind of lay on either front
Yeah.
of the boat or the tailgate, um, just getting a break when you could. But when we went in the mountains, me and Shannon, man, and everybody knows Shannon. Shannon's with me at, he's my best friend. He's with me at every cook-off, works his tail off.
Yep.
But at that point, he was living in North Carolina, away from where the disaster happened. But when he found out I was coming, he said, "Man, I'm gonna meet you over there." Uh, it was he and I. We slept on the floor of the cooking trailer for 9 days straight. We did 1,500 meals a day for 9 days. No shower, no bathroom. We would
Jeez.
get out the trailer in the morning and we would take turns. One of us in the trailer with dude wipes, and then I'd get out. He would come in, use dude wipes. We would pack our air mattresses up, and we'd start cooking.
Damn.
Um, yeah, we had some amazing young ladies from different colleges that came to help us and volunteer, and they were total angels. Like, um, this story just come up, and I'm gonna try to get through this without choking up too much. But this one little girl, um, she was kind of on the back of the trailer helping me, and so I guess she felt close enough to start telling me her story. And her mother and father had died of an overdose. They were from that little town. Her brother had just died of an overdose. She's helping me serve. We'd already cooked and helping me serve, and told me the story about how she got out to make something of herself. To get away from the drugs and the overdose that her parents and little brother and man, I told her how proud I was of her, and man, she told me that nobody ever told her that they were proud of her.
Mm,
Growing up, I never heard that. Ever heard
right.
somebody tell me they were proud of me. And I knew how hard that was. Coming off a football game, nobody can watch me play football. I come off the football field and all these parents are there and grandparents are wanting to take pictures with the kids coming off the field, and I just have to go get my hamburger and my water and go to my car because I know that feeling. So I never let it. I've told her probably 100 times that week because she would come every day and she would help deliver food, and I kept telling her how proud I was of her. Uh, Man, she called me 2 weeks ago to tell me she's getting married and wants me to come and be a part of the wedding.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, I absolutely,
When is it?
yeah, you just give me the date and it's done. Whatever I have to get out of, whatever scheduled will be canceled. Me
Yeah.
and Miss Nicole will be there. Uh, that kind of stuff. You don't think of that when you're doing disaster relief or nothing. You're talking to people and you're just trying to make a difference right then, and you don't realize that it stays.
Yeah.
um we were in North Carolina, so I got all these Stanley Rusty's cups done, Carolina blue, and I hand wrote a note to each volunteer. There was like 8 of them that had come throughout the event, and sent them to them. We just rolled up a handwritten note inside, a thank you note, and just little things, man. It goes a long ways. But you just want to be that bright spot, in a dark time. I remember them
Right.
dark times when I was younger and even older. You know, as recent as 2019.
Yeah.
You just know.
You just know, and you can relate, and I think that all of that just it's you said it. It's God. God's putting you in these places for people who need you. You can be that bright light, even if it's just a dull light, that just something that could give them hope.
Just a spot. Just a
It
spot.
just a little bit of hope. Um, Man, just an amazing story, obviously, and Rusty can talk about. There's so many different stories that I know that he can tell, but I know that folks want to hear. We're almost an hour into this, and I know folks are going to want to hear a little bit about cooking. The beauty of this is before we ever even started, Rusty's already agreed to come back on. So I said, great,
Right.
this is perfect. So we're not going to hit everything in here tonight, but we're going to hit a few more things. And then
Got
when
it.
Rusty comes back, we got part 2 of this whole deal. And there'll be a lot to talk about, too. So, look, I know that winning is great, but you are now, I don't know if it goes, we're going now to competition cooking,
Right.
and you do win a lot. Um, how did this all start? How did competition cooking start? How did you go? It sounds like, and I don't know if this is totally true, but it sounds like you started cooking for the masses during Katrina and all of that. Is that it then lead from, hey, let's do some contests. Let's go get in some competitions here. Is that when it started, or had that started even before all of that?
Man, that was way, way back. Probably a volunteer fire department jambalaya cook-off. Uh, there was 4 teams. I think I come out 5th place. It
Oh,
was
wow.
horrible. Oh wow, it was horrible.
That's kind of hard to
Uh,
believe, knowing what we know now about. Is he? Those of you
right.
who do not know, Rusty does very well in these competitions, and very well. Wins a lot of paddles and grills and all kinds of other fun things. Um, Man, how would you say? What would you say is the difference in the pressure that you feel in these cooking competitions compared to coaching in football games?
Definitely more pressure in football, and the reason is you feel if you're coaching it for the right reasons, you know that if you lose, that losing feeling, that gut feeling, you gotta duplicate that through 30 or 40 kids, right? You're
Right.
giving all these kids that feeling. Versus if I lose in a cooking competition, I beat myself up. I'm always the first to. I never blame judges or get mad at judges. That's just every judge has a different taste, different opinion, and that's on them. Um, I don't start criticizing judges and all of that. I get very down on myself, and instantly second guess myself. Should I done this? Should I done that? Um, you know, some cook-offs mean more than others. Some are a lot larger than others, and or just there's levels to the cooking world, right?
Right.
People don't understand that part. I invited some that win a lot at these local cook-offs to come to an F5 event and watch and come see what I do at the big event, and they did, and they're like, holy shit, I didn't know cook-offs were like this. And I'm like, yeah. I mean, there'll be a couple hundred teams, uh, judges with chef coats that walk into your booth. You got to have a table for them. You got to seat them, plate them, tell them what you cooked, and they hurt your feelings or make your day right there in front of your face. They don't care. And move on to the next booth.
Yeah.
It's a little more intense. Also when you got a $2,000 entry fee on the line, uh, you have to perform, and if you
Yeah.
don't, your sponsors, your company that you work for, the people on your team, you let everybody down.
Yeah.
This past weekend, Pit versus Pot was fun. Um, I did work on it. Hell, we practice. People think that I just got this easy and we're gonna just run through this, but we spend money to practice. We may
Sure.
practice 3 or 4 different things and X a couple of them out. Um, my neighbors love when I practice because they get to
I'll
eat all
bet
they
they
want.
do.
Uh, Come and get it. I use them as judges.
Yeah.
Um, uh, Team, you got to surround yourself with a great group. Like this weekend, man, Shannon, Tony, Rachel, Hannah, and Nicole. I could not have done it on our side without that group. Um,
Yeah.
uh, F5, when you go to an F5 event, you know, if you don't have a 10, 15 person team, you got to have a couple just for judges. And, I told people the other day, we hire 3 people, 2 bartenders, and another person just to serve our food. Because
Wow.
we have a huge bar because we can't even get over there. There's no way possible we would even be able to serve our food. We start serving at 3 o'clock for an F5 event. The line is 150 deep until 10:30 that night.
Jeez.
And
That's
meanwhile,
incredible.
judges are coming in your booth and you got to present your A1 best out the box fin, feather, fur, and or dessert. You have to do all that while the line of people just never stop at your booth.
It seems
Um,
impossible.
we do it. It's that's the football side of me that comes out to make it
Yeah.
competitive. Look, I found out that I was 6.5 points away in the pot category this weekend when I looked at the score sheets. I got third in pot. We're the only team to place in both divisions. I won pit, third place in pot, and normally people would be ecstatic. And I'm kicking myself in the ass trying to figure out where I could have got another 6.5 points. 6.5 points is less than 1 point per judge. Like literally
Yeah.
splitting hairs. It's less than a point per judge. It's splitting hairs. Everybody in that top that's within 8 points is 1 point per judge. Basically, are right there together.
Right.
So did I fail? No, but in my mind, I'm like, man, I'm thinking of a whole different dish I should have done that I thought about doing a month ago. Um, it's just me. That's the competitive side of me, and that's why we win
Yeah.
a lot. Is because I never stop.
Right. Well,
Um,
I got to have one of them. I got to have the winning dish, and it was fantastic. It was excellent. The fin, feather, and fur. I enjoyed it immensely. I didn't know it was. It took me by surprise. Honestly, it was like whoa. And you'll see. I'm coming out with my little videos. I'm looking at it and I'm bringing the paddleboard across, just showing it, and I'm like, whoa. Okay, it was fantastic. I think I judged it pretty well. I gave it a 7 or an 8, which I mean that's that. I I'm not gonna lie. I was highly critical on the pit side because that is what I know. That is what I do.
right.
So it had to freaking absolutely blow my skirt up for me to do it. And I'm going to
And
tell
I'm
you
not a
right now,
pit guy.
yours did. Yours was the highest, and the chicken lollipop. That was
Yeah,
it
that was
was
up, man.
incredible.
Look, that's Brandon Hunt. That's the pit
Uh,
master from stirring the pot, man. Brandon Hunt's the real deal when
yep,
it comes to barbecue.
for
Uh,
sure.
I knew Brandon was going to be out the box. Uh, I truly think if Brandon would have cooked a straight up brisket, he could have won the whole thing because his brisket is absolutely phenomenal. I'm not a pit guy, and that's part of what I'm beating myself on is I think because I'm not a pit guy and I worked so hard on the pit that I failed on the pot side. I should have gave the same attention I usually do on the pot. But
Mm.
again, 6.5 points, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
the two people that beat me, second place was Chance Rion. I mean, he's my teammate. He's my
yeah.
teammate, and I'll do anything in the world to help him push his seasoning, push his catering company, push his brand. And I said this 100 times, and I'm going to say it live on your show. Chance Rion is the best chef in the state of Louisiana, hands down, hands
That is
down.
what it's what I've heard multiple people say.
Um,
What did he
Now, with
cook?
that being said, I have whooped his ass a bunch, so I, I don't forget that chance. Um,
Yeah.
you know, for the A2FA World Championship, I got him. I come out first, he come out second, so it probably was a little bit of his revenge this weekend. But man, he's just a great guy. Pays attention to detail. He works his tail off and deserves everything he gets. There's nothing given to him. He works and
Yeah.
works and works. And I knew he was going to be practicing. I knew he was coming to bring it. But to lose first place to my boy Heath, man, Heath is, and I look, I didn't even try that pineapple cherry dump cake, and I wish I would have because
Oh,
I didn't
you
even
should
know
have.
about it till it was over with and they were out. But Heath and his family are probably one of the best families you'll ever meet in your life. Heath is just the sweetest man. He's humble.
He
He
is.
didn't even want to compete. He comes to these events, he sets up, he sells his incredible seasonings and don't want to compete. And I finally told him, hell with this, man. You have to cook. You know what you're doing. You can cook. And he's like, no, there's levels to this, and we're not there. And I told him about 3 weeks ago, I said, you can't get to level 2 if you don't start on level 1. You
Yeah.
got to throw it out there. And I never forget, man. He called me. He was so excited because he just registered for Pit versus Pot. And I was so tickled. And when they called his name for first place, I had tears in my eyes. I was crying because I was so happy for that man. He's just so deserving. His whole family, they just work hard and they're so deserving. And man, it
They
meant
were.
more to me than my pot win. I mean, pit win. It just meant
Yeah.
more to me. Um, it is what it is. Did I go there to win both of them and the grand championship? Hell yeah, or else I wouldn't have went.
Yeah.
But when you lose to people that are deserving and you know they worked hard, man, I can't fault nobody. I can't fault nothing. I just got to give props,
Right.
and be proud of them.
No doubt. no doubt. I got to meet them. I didn't know who made anything. Being a judge, and I was
Right.
purposely walking around to find who the hell made that, because I got to judge that, and I gave it a perfect score. I don't know what else to give it. I could not. In my mind, I was just going whole numbers, and I could not give it a 9.5 on any. It wouldn't be fair. It just wasn't right. It was absolutely perfectly cooked,
Perfect.
like Nathan and Amanda. I heard them talking about it on their podcast, and they said it had some kind of graham cracker thing on the top.
Yeah.
No, it did
Right.
not. It didn't. It was just, that was the crunch from how perfectly cooked it was. It was just
So let me tell you how crazy this is,
perfect.
right? He signs up for the pit category because he makes a cherry rub that's absolutely incredible. So he did a tenderloin with this cherry rub, which I told him, I said, you better use that cherry rub on something. Well, with that being said, he called Brooks like 2 days before and said, hey, next year, you really ought to think about a dessert category because my wife makes this crazy pineapple cherry dump cake in a cast iron pot. And Brooks says, did you hear what you just said? She makes it in a cast iron pot.
Yes.
And he says, we can cook a dessert. And he said, anything in a pot. So
Yeah.
they weren't even going to enter that till a couple days before when Brooks was like, you can enter that. And
Wow.
I called Brooks. I called Brooks 100 times trying to make sure all these rules were clarified because I take a rule sheet and I don't break them. But man, I try to figure out that gray area and get
Well,
after
for
it.
sure. Yeah.
On the pit category, I was worried about it being three different meats on a turn in. And I made him clarify, and he said it could be any dish cooked on a pit. Well, that's my dish. Fin, feather, fur was the dish. And all
Yeah.
three of those parts were part of the dish. I was worried about the soft shell crab. So I called him and said, can it be cooked in a square pot? And he said, it doesn't matter the shape of the pot. Well, good. I filled a square pot full of grease and I fried my soft shell crab and my soft shell shrimp.
There you
Um,
go.
you figure this out pretty quick.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
One I've never figured out, I got beat with it a few times before I've ever cooked it myself, is where exactly does an alligator fit in the fin, feather, fur? Well, we know feather, they know feather,
Yeah.
but the fur sold at the fur festival, the hide, and an alligator doesn't have a fin on it at all.
Very true. Very true.
Yeah, so I've lost to an alligator in the fin category a couple times, and then also lost to it in the fur category. So I never could figure that out. But anyway,
So you
yeah,
threw it
man.
in there. You didn't lose this
Right,
time.
right. Man, those blackberry glazed alligator legs, and then I hit it with a little bit of that sweet heat barbecue sauce right after it's
Mm-hmm.
done. It's different. It's different. You could pull the bones right off them
It
legs.
You could. It was fantastic. It really was. I've never had
As
that before
as
either.
good as that is, the quail's still my favorite. That quail with the
Yeah.
strawberry glaze is
Cool,
crazy.
dude. It's just
And
silly.
and then the pork loin. So the reason behind that fin feather fur dish, those are my three top F5 wins, and F5's the holy grail of cooking series. They're the
Right.
largest cooking competitions out there. Those are my three highest score F5 turn-ins. So I thought, why can't I figure out a way to turn all three in together on a board, make it look good, make it look like
Right.
one dish, but turn them in. Now, on the flip side of that, it's also a gamble. If somebody really liked two of them and couldn't stand one, then you got to look at that side of it. I might have got dinged because somebody didn't like the quail, or somebody didn't like the alligator, but they loved the other two.
Right.
So it could have went south. It didn't, thank God, but it could have.
Yep. Yeah,
But
exactly. Hey, you did fine. I think you should pat yourself on the back. You did just fine. I know you wanted to win, though. I get that. I get the competitive nature, and that's that's the beauty of all of this, and the beauty of going to these things. It's fun. I enjoy being a judge. I hope I get to do it again. I know I will at some point in time. And it was a different experience, but it was a hard experience. I took it extremely seriously. You'll see a video that I have coming out. I'm going to post my candid takes of trying everything for the first time, and I was not wanting to talk. I wasn't wanting to say anything. I didn't want to influence anybody else.
Right.
But I can't hide my face. No matter what, I just can't hide my face.
I've judged a bunch, and man, look, I went with me, Gabby, Brittany, Camille, Chastity, the lady in the bathroom. We all judged a king cake bread pudding competition. And we're all at the table, and there was just one that and we had our cameras rolling to be able to go back and edit, and I still have not went through that video, but I spit one all the way across damn near on Brittany on the other side of me. Like, I literally took a bite and it come flying out. I couldn't even hold it in. It was so bad.
It was so bad, really?
It was horrible.
You got to really, how the hell do you make that sweet stuff? How does that get bad? They screwed that up big time. Lord.
I found out after the fact. It was a friend of mine, and he tried to do too much. He just tried to do too much. He wanted to be out the box. He was way out the king cake box. He should have had that shit in a bag, a trash bag. It was rough. It was rough.
Well, I mean, but just like you said, he overcomplicated things, and then Heath and his family with the winning dish is as simple as it gets. They walked me through it. I got to film them behind the scenes making the thing, because they were making it, for the public, and and she's like, "You want to watch me put this together?" And I'm like, "Yes, absolutely, I do. I totally do, because I want to make this for myself. I don't.
Right.
I doubt I will ever achieve what I just had, but I'm probably gonna try. I'm gonna try.
Man, look,
but I don't have the Dutch oven. I got to use coals and do all that. Hey, if I got to go buy that just to be able to make that one dessert, I'm willing to do that, dude.
Man, and again, them just taking you and showing you all that just shows them.
Yes.
He's
great.
just, they're so awesome. And look, somebody said, I figured Brooks's brother told Brooks, he said, "Man, I think Rusty was more excited about them winning than him." And Brooks said he probably was. And man, I was. If you knew the backstory of him not wanting to compete, him not believing in himself, man, that's just that's it, man. That's why we do this stuff, is to get them in there. Fun to fire, man. You better believe, you got to know those guys are going to bring it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I didn't get to judge either one of their dishes, which was good.
Their tacos
I think
were in the
that's
pot
good.
category. They didn't place in the top 3. It did win People's Choice. And then their pork belly burn ends. I got a taco, but I didn't get a burn in. But I mean, I can't even imagine how
I got a post judging burn in, because I told them that I didn't get to. I said, what'd y'all turn in? I knew they turned in the tacos. There were 2 tacos. I knew one of them had to be theirs, because that would just be dumb not to, frankly. Like, you got to do that, because they're just so good.
I ran across and got one of Chance's tacos. It was a tasso taco.
Yes, I heard. I got rave. Saw a lot of very positive vibes in there. And I've heard
he
Amanda
woke up
and Nathan
at midnight
loved it.
with raw pork and made that tasso himself. He rendered that tasso out starting at midnight on the smoker and stayed up all night.
Dang.
Yeah. That's him, man. That's why I was telling you.
That's what it takes. That
Most
is what
definitely.
it takes. Yeah, dude.
We got a few good ones coming up.
Yeah, what is coming up? We're going to kind of start to wrap things up. Like I said, we're going to do this in 2 parts. We've gone long enough, so we got the first. And you said before we ever even pressed record that you've been on with Stirring the Pot when you did the podcast with them. Y'all went for like 3 hours, and I was like, "Yeah, we got this in an hour."
Right.
No, you were right. You were right. No, we don't have it in an hour,
We'll
so
come
there
back
will
and
be a
dig
part
straight into
2
the
on.
cooking
Yeah.
section.
Oh yeah,
We'll
we're
come
going to do
straight
the
into
next
digging
one. Will
cooking
be the next one will be all cooking, from his amazing desserts and things that he's done at these F5 and the Jack Daniels stuff to all the things you've won. Maybe we'll do this later on in the fall so we can recap Rusty's 2025 trophy year. You can do it from
That'll work.
home, and you can have the trophies behind you, and we can talk about them.
That won't happen. That won't happen. I wish I could. Yeah. We have an issue right now at our house. I have 3 stacks of plaques from the last 2 years, not counting paddles. Paddles are easy because when we get home, the beams under my outdoor kitchen, just the beams, we just stick them up in the beams. So everywhere you look around the beams is just full of paddles.
Bunch of paddles.
30 foot by 20 foot, every beam just got paddles on it. But plaques, we have no room, and I just stack them up by the door. And we have 4 stacks now that are about 4 foot tall per stack. And my wife's like, look, we just got to use them for firewood or whatever. Cut them in half and reuse them for another event. But yeah, I'm out of room. And that's not counting, man.
You're gonna have to build an add-on, Rusty. You're gonna have to build a trophy room.
I have over 200 jambalaya wins and over 300 gumbo wins. And still, my football trophy room is bigger than my cooking trophy room. My football trophy room is crazy. I'm probably right at 200 rings that we've won over the years, whether it be Team USA, All-American games, or national championships with our Swamp Cat program. Yeah, our football trophy room is pretty extensive. There's not a bunch that get to see it. I have it to where you have to take you in there to go see it. Amanda and those guys would travel to boot. They got to see it a while back. Yeah, it's fun every now and then to bring somebody in there. Yeah, I'll take you in there.
I'd love that. Well, Rusty, where can tell everyone where they can find you online, where they can get your products? Plug yourself.
TremarFoods.com, TREMAR, TremarFoods.com handles all our online stuff. They also manufacture my stuff. They manufacture it. They sell it online for me. They ship it out. That's where you can find it. You can find us at Rusty Seasoning for Every Stuff on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. You have to send me a private message from my OnlyFans link. We can set that up. That's where I'll make my money so I can go cook.
That's why you're in the hotel, isn't it, Rusty? Tell the truth.
That's why my phone keeps going.
That's exactly right. You keep having issues that things running hot because God knows what you were doing before we started this, and we better let you get back at it.
Subscriptions.
That's it.
Gotta pay the bills.
Gotta pay them, baby. Gotta pay them. Well, if y'all enjoyed this one, make sure that you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, go support Rusty, go get his stuff. Like we said, we're going to dive into the full-on food episode the next time that we meet here later this year and break all of that down. But don't forget to do that. And until then, we'll see y'all next time.
Appreciate it. Thank you.